Hello Internet, and welcome to ACD Camping, the home of woodland shenanigans on a shoestring budget. I'm currently in a small area of woodland at the base of the cemetery in Colne, Lancashire, a town famous for its blues festival. The early 90s indie band the Milltown Brothers, whose album Slinky reached 27 in the album charts in 1991, and the birthplace of Wallace Hartley, the band leader of the RMS Titanic. Arranging his band on the top deck, they played on as the ship sank below the waves, taking with it an estimated 1,500 lives. Just up and over that ridge is the final resting place of Wallace Hartley. His body was recovered 2 weeks after the disaster by the cable ship the Mackie Bennett, and his funeral on the 18th of May 1912 had an estimated 40,000 people lining the streets for the funeral procession. Now, as I mentioned in the Wakola Wild Camp video, this area is steeped in a rich history. If you haven't already done so, please check that video out. In that video, I mentioned the Prusik Loop. Today, I'm going to go into a little more depth about it. What you have once completed is a friction hitch created by Austrian mountaineer Karl Prusik in the 1930s. It is used in everything from caving to mountaineering. It is made by feeding the tail end of a loop through itself a few times to create a barrel at each end with a long tail in the middle. Let's go through the process of how it helps set up a shelter. First of all, you need to find a length of cord that is thinner than your ridgeline. Forming it into a loop, and then take each opposite end and tie an overhand knot there, like this. Once you've completed those two knots, you will have a loop. Take those two knots and pull them tightly together. This creates what is known as a fisherman's knot. Those two knots working in cooperation with each other, pushing against each other, creates a very tight bond. Once you have that loop, take it and put it against your ridgeline so you have a small arch at the top and a large tail at the bottom. Take this large tail and feed it through the small arch 3 times, tidying as you go. You want it so there's 3 loops at either side of this particular loop. Once you've done that, it should look like something like that. Push those 3 loops together, pull it tight, and then taking any random stick that you find on the ground. I'm using, for the display purposes, this simple Valinox toggle. And you then take your loop and bring it towards the middle grommet of your tarp. You take the loop, feed it through, and then pass the stick through the exposed loop. Twist it a couple of times. This holds it in place. And then taking that loop, pull it away from the grommet. You will see how the stick now is snugly up against that grommet. Repeat this process on the other side of your tarp with the other middle grommet. Once you have completed that, your tarp will now be secured to the ridgeline. You can then peg it down and do any other modifications that are required. I hope this short video helps clarify anything that you may want answered from the Wakola Wild Camp video. I hope that you enjoyed it and found it informative. If so, please like and subscribe and share this channel with your friends and family. I'm ACD, and this has been ACD Camping, the home of woodland shenanigans on a shoestring budget. Until the next video, peace.